All right, let's stay with this particular story and speak to ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe, who joins us live now. Mr. Mabe, thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's start first with, this issue, because obviously you had, a press briefing with the Treasurer General earlier. We saw, of course, the updates that we were given around the issues of conference. But there's another story that we're then seeing of, media having to pay to be able to cover the conference. Please clarify the rationale for us.
Well, thanks and evening, Bongi. There is no way that media will have to pay to cover the ANC conference. It has never happened before. This is a pure misrepresentation of facts. The ANC never said that the media must pay to cover its conference.
So what was said? Because this article appears to be saying that there does need to be money that has to be paid, but at the same time you'll be visiting the advertising departments, you must be providing water and all of that. So what does it all mean?
At least, the fortunate part is that I'm still alive, So it's not like talking about Van Riebeeck, who's not here to answer for themselves. So we are still very much alive. The news is fresh. It's things that happened today. That's why even if you ask your own colleagues here at the SABC, none of them will tell you about the quantum. None of them will say, this is how much Pule said we are going to have to pay. This is what we advanced. We said to the media, we are going to be visiting media houses to discuss the media package. If a media house, say the SABC, if the SABC needs additional extras resource-wise from that which we have provided, given our own budgets and other constraints, they will have to make do for themselves. We are saying this so that we are able to regulate our space, what goes in there and all of that. So, that is why, can I just conclude, Bongwe, because there is someone sitting in Palabo, and everywhere else who wants to get this understanding. So the ANC must be given the right to speak for itself.
Definitely. I just wanted you to clarify for me what extra resources maybe.
Let me give you a simple example. We meet with your technical team like we always do. We say this is the space that we have provided for the SABC, for your outside broadcast vents, the space that will be used for your different studios. Say you come and say, no, but over and above what you have given us, these are the extra things that we need, resource-wise. So it's not even about financial contribution towards this. So if those that met with us paid attention to understand what we're talking about, maybe there would not even have been a need to invite me here. Because there's never been an expectation that journalists will go and pay. But by the way, that idea, seeing that it is now in the public domain, it is not necessarily a wrong idea. Maybe it will have to be introduced, faced in properly. There's nothing wrong, with those that participate in the media arena, participating in some committee. Because let me tell you, the infrastructure you use doesn't belong to the ANC. You go to Nasrec. Nasrec does not belong to the ANC.
But who's hiring Nasrec? Because now it looks like we are, as the media, going to be funding the work that you're supposed to be doing. We are not hiring Nasrec. We are covering a conference. The ANC is hiring Nasrec.
Correct. Let me come here.
Yes.
That's why you're not paying. But the things that you bring don't belong to the ANC. If you bring in a marquee tent to Nasrec, and you need additional space to put there, you now have got more media spaces. This is not like 1994, Bongi. You now have got more media houses. In terms of plurality, diversity, freedom of speech, we have to provide all media houses. So when we discuss with you the packages that we are giving you, these are now free packages that we're giving you as the ANC.
But are you not hiring out the entire Nasrec?
We've hired, but I don't know. The question you are asking is rather misplaced, because the ANC never said the media must pay 1,000 rand to use the space.
You are saying that it wouldn't be a bad idea. It
wouldn't be a bad idea when done properly. Because, for instance, let's talk about a soccer match. To go to a soccer match, some of you, SABC, other media outlets, you have got you have got your own boxes there. I don't know what is the right way. I don't go a lot to stadiums. But you have got those suits. You have got suits at stadiums. And you pay for those things. They sit at F&B. You use those things for your own client liaison and all of that. You come to an ANC conference. At an ANC conference, we give you the space to put in your infrastructure to cover because you need to put in temporary studios and all of that. But you say, Pule, the space that you've provided me is not sufficient. I need extra. I say, but Bongiwe, if I'm only providing you with extra, how am I going to provide Theta FM, who might not have the resources you have to pull additional space? Now, remember this. Since 1994 to date, the number of media outlets we have in the country that have got interest in the ANC, rightfully so because we're the governing party, has itself grown exponentially. So we have got to make sure that we provide for everyone. So now, the notion, if the ANC was going out to sell media spaces, by the time we met journalists today, we'll be sitting with a rate card. So you can ask your colleagues today, just all of your colleagues, including the ones that tried to castigate us, because the intention here really is to always project an ANC in a negative light. I mean,
I've even seen necessarily because it's us asking questions, because I hear what you're saying, but the thing about it is this, is that the SABC is a public broadcaster. We have a public mandate. Now, if we are going to be asking for additional space, it's for the public, it's not for the SABC. But so how then does the SABC begin to then have this conversation of paying to cover an ANC conference just because we need additional space? Now we must get into conversations. What does that look like, particularly in the context of a Zondo report that also speaks about how the SABC found itself in trouble? So are you not then muddying the waters again?
Let me help you, because Shem, I feel for you. I think you are trying hard here to try and pull a story that doesn't exist.
No, Pule, it's not trying hard. It's a serious story.
No, but we never said people are going to pay. So Agiri, you must say to me, you must quote me where I said that.
But you just said it wouldn't be a bad idea, so I'm taking you on the fact that you say it wouldn't be a bad idea, and we are now having this discussion.
No, but you were not inviting me here to come and talk about something being a good or bad idea. You were inviting me here because you were saying the ANC says the media must pay. Let's deal with that.
And then you took it further and said, come to think of it, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I then, as a journalist, continue to ask you questions based on what you've just said. No, that's fine.
That's fine. Maybe at the right platform, talking about it as a notion to be. Remember, even if the SABC is a public broadcaster, when we do ANC event, the SABC is a public broadcaster, not for us, for the public. Not every South African is a member of the ANC. Just don't forget that. So you must cover issues where government is building houses. That's why the SABC can choose based on the weight of stories whether they come to an ANC press conference or not. There are press conferences we host where you don't come. You know why? Because you don't deem them to be newsworthy or of public interest. So now, it can't be that today, in your diary meetings, one day, you decide that. Because if you say that, then it means you must come, even when we have got a baby shower of a leader of the Women's League somewhere. Because you choose which events of the ANC you cover. You understand that? There must be newsworthy. There must be of public interest and all of that.
And the baby shower is newsworthy?
No, I'm saying, if you said the ANC, I'm following through on what you are saying. If you said, no, but Pule, because in one interview, they kept on saying, but Pule, don't forget, you guys are the governing party. But I said, but the ANC never said media houses must pay to come and occupy the space at its conference. So we mustn't try very hard to say things that the ANC never said. Even when the ANC is still alive, can speak for itself. Because what we said, and look, I so wish you guys sometimes said this other side. You know how many people applied to attend the policy conference? More than 300. Today, we're not even done. We have not even closed accreditation. Already, we're sitting with over 500 applications of journalists and media houses. Now, just tell me, if all of them, if you accredit all of them, and if all of them were eating 3 meals a day, they must get breakfast, they must get lunch and dinner. There's a coffee station apportioned for them. So it means literally providing some 1,500 meals a day only to the media. So now you do this, one, so that a media platform like an important media house like the SABC recognizes the importance that they carry here. We say, okay, SABC, you want to have, so you have talk about the policy conference, the SABC had segmented your radio stations. Thobela, Mitsweding, Lesedi, Likwala, and all of that. And we gave you space to be able to do that. But you now come back and say, the space you gave us, because others will be, so how we began saying this is when others wanted to start bringing in more than what they were previously allocated, we said to them, but guys, if you do this, you are going to now force us to impose different conditionalities because we want to accommodate this international media. You know, there is a regional media, there's local media, there's mainstream, yourselves. We have to make sure that all of you have got that space.
So if I can just tell you categorically, the SABC is not going to be paying for any space at all. And I'm speaking this on behalf of the division. But there's a statement, I'm not sure if you saw it. It came out this evening, and that's why you see me have my phone here. The EFF...
But let me go back to that categorical thing. The SABC and all other broadcasters will never tell the ANC what to do. Just so that you must...
So what happens then
I just want to tell you categorically so that you must understand that we in the ANC decide on what happens in our own organization. We are not going to be told by the SABC, by press councils, by anyone. Decisions we take in the ANC are those that fit and serve the ANC better. In this instance, the ANC has not said any media house must pay, but the ANC will not be told by any media house, be it the SABC or anyone. So, if we decide, let me conclude my line, so that the categorical thing also belongs to us. Because we are a party, Bongiwe. We are not going to be intimidated by the SABC or anyone. The SABC can set its agenda in its own press. If you sit in your diary meetings, you can set your agenda. You don't set the agenda for the ANC. If the ANC takes its own decisions, if the SABC is not compatible with the decisions of the ANC, they must say so. You are not under pressure. Let me conclude. You are not under pressure to agree with the ANC. But what you will not do, you will not tell the ANC what to do.
I just don't want us to run out of time.
No, but you want me to talk about the EFF statement. I can hear where you're going. You want me to talk about the EFF statement?
I'd like you to respond to some of what they have to say. It's very important because you say that the ANC is not dead, you're not dead. You'd like to respond for yourselves. So I'm keen to hear your response on this particular part of the statement. They say that the desperate and financially disorganized ruling party has decided to turn an elective conference, which is supposed to be representative of democracy and transparency and easily observed by all those who vote for them, into commercial opportunity to fix their financial woes.
But the EFF reflects on the confusion reflected by your colleagues. So what must we do? You went as the media, confused the public. The EFF wrote a statement reacting to confusion. What do you want the ANC to do? Because the ANC never said anyone must pay. So we must now suddenly, out of confusion created by the media, we enter the fray. Here we are speaking for ourselves. We never said anyone must, someone must say to me, here is a rate card that the ANC issued. Someone must come and say that to me. We said we will conduct road shows to media houses to explain to them what is possibly available. And we cautioned them that if media want extra things, they must be willing to carry those things. This we said. And when we say that, what do? We're allowing, some of them were even talking about budgets. Hey, we said, hey, Mara, here we're not talking about money. So because if we were talking to the media substantially on financial issues, we'd be sitting with them there. I mean, one of the media houses even came to me and said, yeah, Pule, just give us a rate card, we'll see. I said, man, what is this now? Are we now being set up now? Because you see, you can now hear statements that, and as I left there, I told our colleagues in the DIP that no, this thing, watch the space, it's gonna be gonna be blown out of context. Was I wrong? No. Because I know how the media plays itself. I could hear the questions that journalists were asking, that they are going to blow this thing out of context. I mean, one digital publication says cash-strapped ANC looking to the media. Why can we do that? We knew, when we were elected back in 2017, we knew that we'll host a conference. But given the numbers we saw at the policy conference, if we don't put caution, let me tell you what happens. You are going to have journalists who are not even registered with the press council going into, because nowadays, we use online systems. Journalists, you know, last time, even as we remained with almost 300, we had to cut out, we disqualified a number of them because many of them were not even having press cards. Why? Because it's an opportunity to participate in a conference. You know what they do? They go, so now they know that, hey, potential, so they pull back. If you don't put regulatory framework on your own processes as an organization, you'll have a challenge. I must be able to report to the National Conference Preparatory Committee that the SABC is going to be sending so many journalists. It's Francis and Bongiwe. They will be doing live view stream here on site on the 17th of December. You understand? So and so want to, it's Sakina and Liane, they want to cover Morning Live here on the 18th. So I'm able to then make those arrangements. So I say, okay, Bongiwe and Francis need day passes. So I know that, okay, of the total 40 or so team coming from the SABC, these two are only coming for day passes. So I make that allocation to yourselves. But the other debate, Bongiwe, which is quite interesting, it's something we must come and have. But for now, Bongiwe, if the SABC sticks to what we allocated during the policy conference, the SABC understanding that we must also be able to bring in Theta FM, in CDB, then we're good to go. We give you your space, you set up at your own space, we work. It's nothing, there's no, that, but we know, I mean, we make news. We say, we don't say, the media say the things we didn't say. Political party write about the things we did not say. But because there is desperation to project the ANC in a certain light, then it becomes a story.
Now, Pule, I mean, I know that I'm almost out of time. In fact, I think I might be, but I wanted to just check with you because one of the things that the party says now moving to, the conference itself, you say that first day is going to be the voting and all of that. But let's talk about, some of the issues that we've seen play out in some of the provinces, which would be the issue of credentials and all of that. Are you anticipating challenges in that regard? And of course, also take us into also maybe, your thinking. Are you also thinking that you could be expecting some court cases?
Well, when addressing the media today, our Treasurer General, who's also in charge of the Secretary General's office, Comrade Paul Mashatile, did speak to some of those and said, we stand ready as the African National Congress for any eventuality, be it legal or otherwise. So we have prepared ourselves for any other thing that we might be confronted with. We have ensured that all our processes are foolproof. And where we have had BGMs that were incident-free, we really commended our members for the manner in which they've carried themselves. We have got the National Dispute Resolution Committee headed by Comrade Mdu Manana. It has been working with the necessary speed to process all of the disputes before them, where they needed to reorder branches to rerun BGMs. They've done so, and we must commend them. They've assisted us throughout the many BGMs we've had in the country, even in the processes leading to provincial conferences, to be able to deal with all of that. So we are quite comfortable. We must thank our over 3,000 branches of the ANC that have conducted successful meetings of the ANC to have ensured that they go out there, participate in these meetings, but again, they demonstrate that the ANC through them is still very much alive.
So let's then, as we're winding down our conversation, you talk about challenges that you are, of course, also preparing yourselves for. When we go back to, this issue of the funds as well, I know this is an issue that you've been at pains, and you've said this over time, the Political Party Funding Act, and how difficult it's made things for the ANC right now. I wonder if you're starting to have conversations that are looking into the future of the possibility, as you say, of maybe sitting down with the media houses and coming up with certain packages. Is this an admission that this is another layer where you were hard hit by this particular act?
Well, not necessarily. Of course, the Political Party Funding Act has overall affected how the ANC does its own things, its ability to generate sufficient monies, even from donors, to be able to do its own work. I mean, I was saying today that the ANC basically has got 3 primary sources of funding, which is donations, its subscriptions, and its national fiscus. Now, these are the three sources of funding for the ANC. Now, what has happened is that policy has affected in the main this donation layer, because it has put there a ceiling on how much you are able to raise from companies in a year. So it's really a matter of regulation, not so much the changing of the act. So you've got to then say, it's like a PFMA, where you say, okay, this is how much you can be able to allocate without having to go on a public tender or that. So it's more an issue of regulations. We've got to look closely into those regulations and then say, how do we refine them? Because their refinement will not only serve the ANC better, it will also address financial challenges of political parties. Because if there was a business person who would give the ANC 200,000, as of today, they can only give the ANC 100,000 within a tax year. So that creates its own challenges. But nothing stops us in the growing digital media space to begin looking at, as part of enhancing our own relationships with the media and supporting a free press, on what are the things that we are able to do. I was telling you the story of 1994. The number of media houses you had in 1994 is surpassed by the media houses you have today.
Okay. Pule, thank you so much. Unfortunately, time is always the enemy, but thank you so much for coming through. I think this issue is still going to pop up quite somewhat, and we'll probably be talking about it. As you say, the issue of packages, we'll talk about it in future, but thank you so much for coming through. That's Pule Mabe, ANC spokesperson.